Paul Mackey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Yeah, doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Trying to get back in the swing of things. It's a Monday. Had a
Yeah.
long weekend and ready to get after it.
I uh, I went out to a house today to go fix up a water leak, and I bought a half-inch pipe. Turned out it's three-quarter inch, and that's a 40-minute drive. So big bust there. I've got to do it tomorrow, but that's okay. And I just got to remain flexible. I'm Gumby.
That's good, man. Yeah. As much time as I spend in front of a computer, and I was just telling a buddy of mine about this. Like last week, I was rehabbing a house, and like it felt good to like physically work hard, like get on my hands and knees and like sweat and like get dirty. Like I was like, this is good. I need to do this more
Yeah.
often.
Yeah, it's the reason why I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because sitting around here crunching numbers, trying to find a new client, this, that, and the other. It's very lonely work, even though I'm working with people.
Yeah.
But getting out there, even on a hot day, now it's cooling down, but even on a hot day, and just I was never afraid to put forth a hard day's work, and I really
Yeah.
enjoy the fact that I get to, and I'm very grateful for my son-in-law for pulling me into it. I
That's
really
cool,
am.
man. Well, let's get into it. Let's get
Okay.
a little bit of background about who you are, where you came from, and we'll get into what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, um, so I joined the Air Force in 1996. My father and my mother, well, mainly my father, thought that I was going to be kind of a bum if I didn't do anything. I was drifting through jobs. So I joined in 1996 out of Arizona and became a telephone systems maintainer. By the time I sewed on Master Sergeant in 2012, had already been working within the IT world. The Air Force got rid of the telephone systems world, so moved over to the more managerial type stuff. By 2014, I was stationed out here at NASP as a superintendent for a geographically separated unit, which was ran out of Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi.
Okay.
And then I retired in 2018, and the rest is history.
So how many years total did you do in the Air Force?
22.
22. Okay. And you said NASP, that's in Pensacola, correct?
That is, yeah, right. Aviation, right?
That's right.
Yep. So there's a small Air Force mission that happens here, predominantly backseaters. They're called combat systems officers. So we maintain the IT mission
Okay.
for the 81st Communications Squadron. And there's also all of the sheet metal, all the enlisted sheet metal guys, aircraft sheet metal and non-destructive inspection. They're trained out here as well. And then there's a little bit of I believe they're called like intel, cyber space intel type
Yeah.
guys, super secret squirrel type stuff at Corey Station.
Okay.
We had, maintained. So pretty much that was it. It wasn't like a joint venture with the Navy. In fact,
Yeah.
it's very, very cut off from all that, but we did get to enjoy kind of the differences that the Navy, the way they took care of things, which was kind of, like breath of fresh air in some cases.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So you retired in 2018, and then how was that transition? How was the military transition out and into, the civilian world? What did you do first?
So I was approached back in, let's see, I believe it was 2016 to consider moving into the financial services world. My financial advisor at the time thought that I would probably fare quite well in the business. He was incentivized, obviously, to do a little recruiting as well.
Sure.
So my work began that far ahead. 2016, I started studying a lot of sit-ins on how this world kind of works. So, I mean, I did taps, I did all the things that you've got to do, kind of, tick those boxes, but I was really hell bent on moving forward with that. And I really didn't have, I mean, I didn't really have a plan B. It was,
Yeah.
the way I kind of looked at it was let's just let's just go all in. By the time I retired and hit my, you know, what would you call that? Your leave before you finally roll
Yeah.
out, terminal leave. That's it. I didn't have all my licenses done. So I had to go work with General Dynamics and did their IT mission with the U.S. Navy. The what are the their version of Training Command,
Yeah, yeah.
and did that for a few months. Finished all my licensing, and then immediately put in my 2 weeks notice. They'd pretty much let me go the same day, and I started in with the bigger firm in September 2018. I
Ha-
mean, in comparison to other folks, I think my transition was really easy. I didn't seem to struggle. I didn't really have any issues with not wearing the uniform anymore. I didn't really identify. I mean, I identified myself as an airman, sure, but I was ready to go.
yeah. Have you had you always been interested in kind of like that finance world prior to, as you were in the Air Force and, talking to, other airmen about it?
No,
No. Okay.
not in the least.
That's interesting.
I think the only thing that interested me about the field, they could have told me to do anything that was going to mentor people, and I
Mm,
probably would have signed up for it.
okay.
What I think I Well, I'm always been interested in garnering knowledge that few people seem to go out and get themselves,
Okay.
right? So I got a bachelor's degree in military history that interested me more than a business administration type degree, which everybody was getting.
Yeah.
I wanted to I wanted to know more than those around me so that I could impart that knowledge, and I really enjoy that element of it.
Okay.
So for me, this was like, well, I didn't know very many guys that were going to go into it. Most guys with IT, certifications like me were going into your GS jobs contract. I mean, when I was with General Dynamics, I could have easily just made a life out of that and work through their little hierarchy.
Right.
So
Right.
for there because I'm not incentivized by a position. I could bag groceries if it paid me enough, and
Yeah.
I'd be fine with it. So I've got no real reason beyond just the educational aspects of it, and I really enjoyed that. That's probably, yeah, I really enjoyed that part and finding new ways to solve old problems. That's really big for me.
That's great, man. And I can tell through, you educating, the group here in Military Investor Network that that's the case. Like you're really good at, throwing a problem out there and like figuring out how we can solve it, right? And offering solutions and advice and thoughts and getting my brain stirring on different ways to look at problems, and it's pretty cool, man. So, kudos to you for entering that world. And the financial services world is really big. So tell us kind of, if there's a few niches that you like to kind of dive into a little bit more than the others. Like what space do you kind of venture in more so?
Well, lately I've been diving into the small business world. There's with the ideas that I've presented to the group, what, 2 weeks ago, I think it was now.
Yeah.
It seems to be that would be an area that people might find a lot of value in. It's so novel that I'm definitely expecting very few bites, if you will. No's, by the way, don't bother me. I don't mind people ghosting me or saying no or any of that type of thing. If they want to continue with me, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine too. So small businesses, a lot. I really like the mindset of those within the real estate market.
Okay.
It's an area that I find really difficult to deal with. My son-in-law, he's in it. Obviously, he's got his license and everything, so he's selling as well. But I mean, geez, just the amount of work that these guys have to go through and the amount of money that they put forth, and it's all cash, and they do some of the hard money lending, and so I'm looking at, I'm like, gosh, I mean, if there seems to be a lot of areas there that I think I could bring some value in, and again, it's just getting to moving through the network and trying to reach out to these investors that seem to have copious amounts of cash that I know if like they just give me a chance,
Yeah.
I would change everything about it. But
Yeah.
so that's
Well,
kind of where I'm focused. I mean, and I still do the one guy that just wants somebody to manage his wealth. I love doing that as well, and certainly I'm growing that aspect as well. And so anybody I meet within the home improvement realm, hey, who's handling your guys' wealth? And they do have somebody usually, and so I'm offering much lower fees, which I find to be very beneficial. Most people don't even realize that. That's the only part you can control. So I'm moving through that space as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And you're offering a lot of thought leadership on like the kind of the insurance space, like life insurance, and how you can use that to grow your wealth and use that as like investment tools, and super interesting stuff, man. And a lot of people I think don't understand it, but I think as soon as you get educated on it, it's a pretty unique tool and opportunity to dive into. So yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. Um, as a part of this conversation, I'm like, it's super cool to hear like that your transition wasn't that challenging, and it sounds like you had kind of something teed up for you. What have you learned since then? And like what did you learn, I guess, in the military that has helped you now in the world that you're in today?
I really didn't like the professional military education that the Air Force offered.
No, really?
Uh, I mean, once I was in it, I was fine. I was clocked in, going to the classes, putting forth my thought processes on a multitude of ideas, but I didn't like it, and I didn't realize that there was a good fair amount of investment that the Air Force was putting in me at
Mm,
that time. And I really didn't know how that was going to pay out down the road. But what I learned as I got older, obviously as you get older, you start to meet all of the airmen that were born when you joined. And then you go, okay, these guys they know what they know, but I know what I know, and they don't have a clue what is coming, over the horizon for them. And I'm leaving. So I started to really hone in on, I mean, not to say that I was the most wise master sergeant that the Air Force had, but I had been through some things,
yeah.
and these guys needed to at least have some a semblance of an idea of what they were getting into if they were going to continue to serve like I had. And so for me, it was just, let's talk to them. Let's, let them ask me questions, enlighten them on this, that, or the other. Obviously, in 2016, I still had a few years left. So I was getting into the financial services aspect of things. So I was, talking to them about, of course, blended retirement system was kicking off around that time. So there was a lot of that discussion. But mainly it was, what was it? What did I need them to know about how it was, so that they, you never know what you're
Yeah.
going to what somebody needs to know when they need to know it, and so I always think about the movie It's a Wonderful Life. If you if anyone's never seen it, go check it out. It's a great Christmas movie. But you know he didn't have any idea how much of an impact he had made on others, and even Jordan Peterson talks about that. So I just took that very seriously. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna need these guys to know. So I just, anything that I could. I was the wise old man, right, in the shop, and these guys, and some of them, they probably thought of me as sort of
I mean, you
their.
are a grandpa, right?
Yeah, I am grandpa. I've got three grandkids. I was already doing that way back then, and so I would say I was prepared already to communicate, to articulate whatever it is that needed to be done, and do so effectively.
That's good, man. Well, being that you're in the investment space yourself, I'm assuming that you've made some of your own investments in the stuff that you teach and educate on. So, for our tribe, what's the best investment that you've ever made?
You think as an investment advisor that I would have this massive cool story about this thing that I put together, and
Yeah,
it's
you
just
don't? Come on.
awesome, and I don't. So what I do have is a little bit of, because I view the world a little bit differently. When somebody comes to me and they're talking about investing, I look at the big picture, and it's like, certainly there's the dollars amount. Okay, we want return of investment, and you want to have money when you retire. Okay, that makes sense. But there's also the element of the the family. What do they need to deal with now? What concerns them? And as my kids grew up, one of the things I noticed very quickly was that they just kids don't stay little. So when somebody's like, "Hey, my kids are this age, and I want to go and I want to take them to Disneyland or something," I'm probably gonna have to shut down some of my contributions. And I actually don't mind as long as they know, hey, we're gonna turn these back on because that's an investment in the family.
Yeah.
Those kids are not gonna want to go to maybe they will go to some sort of neato family thing. They're not going to be little forever. So
Mm.
for me, investment can mean a multitude of things. So my best investment was getting over my fear of speaking in public. When I
Mm.
was overseas, I don't know, there was something, I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or just something within me stating, hey, you know what, you probably need to get over this. So I started volunteering for a bunch of MC. I was starting to do a lot of MCs in Belgium and putting together. I was a annual awards banquet chairman. I had to brief a general every couple of weeks on that progress. So I got very comfortable getting in front of people and talking about a multitude of things. And it seems to have worked out, right? I mean, for that reason, I was able to move into the financial services space with very little trepidation. And I would
Mm.
say that's most likely my best investment was focusing on that. And I mean, I could probably get deeper, but
Dude, no, I love that, man, because especially as this world becomes more, you know, digital, internet based, like AI is going to take over a whole lot more. I think one skill set that all of us humans need to have is communication, right? And I've heard from a bunch of different, on podcasts and stuff like that, like being able to communicate whatever it is you have, whatever it is you're selling, whatever values that you have is something that is of high value, that will never be taken away from a computer, from AI, from a robot, whatever, right? Um, and I think that we absolutely need to continue to work on that skill. Um, you know, even like sending kids to college, like go be a communications major and learn how to communicate whatever it is that you're going to be doing later on in the world is absolutely huge, man. I love that answer. That's incredible.
yeah, I was thinking about that one there. I was like, I don't have really any
Dude, it's
great.
spot on, man. It's spot on. I think, yeah, we have to be able to communicate whatever it is that, we're doing. All right, what's your worst investment? I know you got a bad one out there.
So back in 2022, maybe early 2023, I had made the comment to my wife that I always wanted to have a Plymouth Barracuda, right?
Okay.
So we found one, and it was a '66. It was a very, very beautiful car, already fixed up. I didn't have to do much. We bought it, and my thought process was I had just moved from the bigger firm into me and my buddies. We opened up Freedom Financial, and I thought, this is a really great way to get out there and meet people, cars. I mean, I'm a car guy. I know how to work on them. I know how to talk about them. People just, and so I started going to car shows. And, whilst people were really desirous to meet me and look at my car and ask me some questions, and, I look at theirs and everything like that. A few times I tried to move it into my business. It really didn't pan out. And, I can't say it's the worst investment buying that car. I really enjoy when I drive it. I really like that. It's just not gone the way that I thought it would. I thought
Mm.
maybe that 20,000, oh, it's actually 18,000. I thought maybe that 18,000 would translate into, a vast majority of my business in some way. I've not made up on any of it. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I can't even say I've made $1,000 from that car. So in business,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so I would say, and I'll probably maybe I don't feel like I drive it. I might get rid of it someday. I don't know. It's now the company that I have with my son-in-law is named after the car in a way, and
Okay.
so I mean maybe it's not a bad. I mean, it's just a matter of thus far. I would
Yeah.
say it's probably my worst investment.
Well, you can use it as a marketing, plan,
Yeah.
put a sticker on it and count it as a tax
I
write-off.
I I was thinking about getting into some of these parades that they do. I'm like, those some of those go to Vistaprint and whatever and get those big magnets made up
Yeah.
with the business on it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not done, but return on investment is probably -30 right now. And maybe down the road it'll be a +10. Who knows?
Dude, quick story because it's similar. When we were stationed in Italy, everybody was buying these Land Rover Defenders like from England,
Yeah.
with you're driving on the right side. And they had some left side as well. And there was like these brokers who would kind of do everything for you. Most of them were using that person to do it. So you kind of get it was like a turnkey thing. I was like, no, I'm gonna do it myself. So I went on like eBay and like bought one from this guy and like had to have it like shipped from England to Italy, which was a horror story in itself of trying to get that thing done. And then like get here, it was like just trash. And I had to bring it to like an Italian, car shop that spoke zero English to try to figure out how to like communicate with them to like fix this thing up. Also a horror story. Dude, it was the worst ever for like investment. Like I finally got it back to the States, which again, another horror story. And then come to find out it was like piecemeal together from like stolen parts and like didn't even have like the right like VIN. It was awful, man. So I
Wow.
feel you. I feel you. I thought this was going to be some great investment, and it turned out to be.
And those are pretty sharp. I remember seeing them in Belgium and thought,
They're
man, you know
cool.
what? They're pretty cool,
They're
but I
cool.
couldn't fit. I'm 6'4". I can't fit in much of
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah. It was. Anyways, all right. Advice for your 20-year-old self. What would if you had to do it over and give yourself advice? Go back. What would it be?
I never was a competitive young man. I performed. I played. I ran in track and cross country through high school,
Okay.
which is competitive, but I wasn't the fastest, so for me it was just something to do with my friends, whatever. And so what I've noticed, right, is that the guys that did sport, like really heavy in sports, basketball, football, wrestling, they Eagle Scouts, right, people that got, they know how to get after it,
Mm,
right? At least from my point of view. Um, I would say it to my 20, don't be afraid to get after it, right?
mm,
Stop procrastinating. Stop looking at everybody else and going, well, it's just not me. I'm just not going to achieve that. I mean, maybe I don't care, whatever. And I'm a late bloomer, right? The types of things that people were doing in their 20s, I started doing in my 30s. And now I'm in my 40s and I'm doing the types of things that people in their 30s might have done. So I would say, and most of that's probably due to a little bit of my procrastination effort and the fear of failure. That's another,
yeah.
hey, don't don't fear that, right? So I wish that Jordan Peterson had been something around, been around in well, he was in the 90s, but he wasn't really putting out any content, right? There was really
There you go.
nothing. So I would have been nice. Yeah, I would just say those types of things to myself. Maybe play some sports. I don't try to be competitive, man.
No,
But
that's good.
yeah,
Makes sense, man. Um, Last question.
yeah.
What would you ask of the members of the Military Investor Network? If you had to, those that are going to watch this and you wanted to talk to them and reach out, what would you ask of them?
Keep an open mind.
Mm,
There's a lot of new ideas that are out there, probably from a, a, a small cadre of us, I would imagine. I'm thinking about was it Pareto's principle,
yeah,
80/20.
yeah.
So, you know, Jordan Peterson talks a lot about when you are in front of somebody that might know more than you, right? I don't know exactly how he puts it, but basically, hey, just think about the person in front of you might know more than you about
Mm,
a myriad of things. Thomas Sowell also discusses the idea that, just because you're really smart and done a lot of really great things for yourself doesn't mean you know everything, right? And you can get outside of your discipline really, really quick,
mm,
really fast. If you know a lot about this, that, and the other, and you're going to try to roll into this other wheelhouse because you've done very well in that one space. You'll find yourself in an area that you have, well, maybe you don't have any business being in, but certainly you don't know near as much as the other guy that's been sitting in there. I've been at this for 8 years. I'm not the most well known guy in it. I'm not out there caning it, as the Brits would say. Compared to some, I'm I'm good, but what I'm trying to achieve is just getting more information out there and getting people to think differently
Mm,
about. I mean, life insurance. I hate to talk about life insurance, but it's the one thing that people don't want to talk about, and we're all gonna die. So,
right.
the empirical evidence suggests that people are underinsured. The people that aren't probably think they don't even need it. But I mean, if you pass away, what's a few $100,000 more dollars to your family, even if you've got a trust fund that's tax free? So I just say, hey, you know what? Engage. Not everybody, I know not everybody's reading that, and that's okay. I know, we got probably what about 80 some members, I think now, 100. And there's probably about 20 of us. So, I mean, the principal seems to check that are reading and engaging. I say, look, engage, keep an open mind. I'm learning things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
there's so much. I mean, the members that we have that are doing what they're doing, we just have a huge think tank, if you will, of ideas of people like, hey, here's how, just get after it and read these things, engage. And for me, what I would rather people do is tear my stuff apart. If I
Mm,
put out an idea, I want to see why that idea wouldn't work out. I don't mind. I'm not afraid of debate. I've often wanted to do like a town hall of come over and tell me why this is stupid.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
just I mean, almost like Crowder doing his, change my mind. I've thought about trying to build something like that. I don't really know how it works. Nobody's gonna do. Life insurance is important to you. Change my mind. I nobody's going to talk about that. But in these types of settings, they probably would. And that's why when I was like, hey, here's my idea. What's wrong with it? How would this
Yeah.
not work for a business? I know the complications, but I want to hear more. So do that. I mean, for me at least, you
Well, that's
know,
how we learn, right?
yeah.
That's how we
I
learn.
mean
Follow each
that's
other
how
and
we
ask
started
questions.
flying. It was a multitude of models and
That's right.
let's try this. It didn't work. I mean, 1903 to 1969, we land on the moon. That's amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
What's that? 60, I don't, public math. What is that? 65, 66 years?
We're being recorded. Don't embarrass
66 years.
yourself. That's good, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, posting thought-provoking, ideas, questions, presenting on the same. So keep it up. And
Oh,
yeah,
I
I
will.
agree. Like let's get curious. Let's ask questions. Let's engage, and help each other grow. It's a good community, man, and I appreciate it. I'm glad you're in it. How do people get in touch with you? Where can we send people to talk to you about whatever you got going on?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm part of the network, but if you're
Yep.
on Facebook, you can find me on there. Uh, Freedom Financial. Actually, I think they made me change some of that. But anyway, Paul W. Mattke
Okay.
on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, Paul W. Mattke. So I don't really have. I started pushing out a lot of online presence on there. That's way. I don't know. By the way, if you guys figure that out, it's way more work than I really just yeah. So what is it like three posts a week or 3 posts a day that you should do on LinkedIn if you want to and I'm like, geez,
There's
please.
all
And
kinds
then
of
there's
different things. Yeah.
compliance I have to worry about. But yeah, I mean, on there, and if anybody wants to ask a question, and here's the other bit. I'm not out there trying to make me more money than I need. So if you've got a question on your group policy or, geez, do I even have enough? let me look at your policies. If you don't want to work with anyone on your investments, that's fine. You can always rent my brain. There's certainly in the realm of an investment advisor, you have to go into contract if you're going to make recommendations. But, you know, yeah, if you got a guy that you're already working with and you're like, I don't know if this guy's really got my interest, let me analyze it
Love it,
and
dude.
I'll tell you. So
Appreciate you, Paul. This has been fun.
thanks, Stu. Appreciate it,
And
man.
we'll get this out to the community. And yeah, again, thank you for everything that you do.
Well, thanks for reaching out. Thank you for creating that network. I'm looking forward to seeing what I can impart.
Cool, buddy. Thanks.